Welcome back to West Texas View.
We're glad to have you join us again. This is our last segment today of the Samaritan Counseling Center. And Katie Mathis is our guest today from the Samaritan Counseling Center, and her specialty is play therapy, but children's counseling in particular. And I wanted you to go back to your work as a child therapist, counselor, and talk about other things that you do.
Well, other things I do besides therapy with children and with teenagers is with adults. Anything from grief and loss to depression and anxiety, relationship struggles, adjustments to changes in life, anything and everything at this point. So,
even things like sexual dysfunction, gender identity, all those kinds of things that you don't really think about very often. And one of the things that I wanted us to talk about that I think is really important is the fact that we have bilingual counselors.
That's right.
So we can handle people who are more comfortable in another language, or who that's their only language. And then for any of them, whether it's the children or the adults, again, we've got insurance programs that pay for mental health. We've got employee programs. We've got sliding scale so that we can adjust the payment. And so what else in this 9 minutes do you want to talk about?
I think just what you mentioned already, just the fact that we're doing everything that we can to make sure that services are available to as many people as possible, and that language is not a problem, that we do have Spanish therapists available. And I also speak Arabic, so if there's anyone that speaks Arabic in West Texas and doesn't have access to counseling services, and then the same with finances, that there's insurance options if you have insurance, and if not, we also have a client assistance fund that's based on income, and will help the client to have affordable services.
And that comes back from some of your fundraisers. You've raised
That's
funds to allow you to have a little slush fund to help those people who really need some counseling but just don't have the money.
Right. We want our services to be available to anyone and everyone. And one thing that I may have forgotten to mention earlier is our program for Kids' Sakes. That is a program or a class for parents who are going through a divorce, and it's offered in both English and in Spanish in Midland and Odessa, so that parents can learn how to help their children transition as smoothly as possible during such a difficult time in the change.
But it can be anybody in the West Texas area. It doesn't have to be Midland and Odessa.
Right, anyone in the West Texas area. The classes are in Midland or in Odessa, but it's open to anyone. And we would encourage families that are transitioning through divorce to attend, so that they can learn. They'll learn what their child is experiencing, how their child may process grief, and then how to walk alongside their children, and also how to communicate and cooperate with their ex-spouse afterwards. And so it's highly beneficial for families going through that.
And we're so wrapped up in our own grief as adults and our own anger or whatever it is that's causing this split, that we sometimes forget the loss that these kids are feeling, and the anger and the grief that they're feeling. And and this, if not treated, can last a lifetime and manifest itself in some really, really bad ways.
You're very right. I think the statistics are that 2/3 of children from families that are of divorce will still be feeling the impacts as adult children, the negative impacts. And that's why this class is so important, that it teaches parents how to promote and create resiliency in their children. And going through a hard time can be later used and turned for positive in the child's life if the right people are there to guide the child through that time, and to help the children understand correctly what's happening, and to not take on a false understanding of themselves or their families that will stay with them throughout their life.
And one of the things that I thought was very interesting is that I had a friend who was in college when his parents divorced, and he was as affected, as deeply affected by that as the 6-year-old and the 10-year-old in the family. Even though they said, oh, well, it won't bother him, but it will the little children. He was as deeply affected as they were.
And that's why we offer our counseling services at Samaritan, is so that anyone going through a transition like that or another type of loss can have the opportunity to meet with someone to focus on their mental health needs and to understand what's happening to them and to learn the skills that they need to walk through the grief and walk through transition.
Well, it's amazing, though, how just a few sessions can turn things around. You of course have no way of knowing whether, when you sit down with somebody, whether it's going to take one session or 14 sessions, but it's amazing how quickly you begin to see results, isn't it?
That's true with adults, with children, and with teens, that when people come in, that means that they're ready to heal, they're ready to move forward. This is what they've been waiting for, and so when someone actively participates in their own growth and healing, then it is amazing to see the results that can come from that. Even if the journey is long, usually from the beginning, people will start to take little steps forward, and that will encourage them to continue taking more steps forward and not give up.
Do you ever have any parents who are divided in bringing their children? I don't want to bring my child there, or I do, because they think there's a stigma attached?
I think it's possible that that's come up. I haven't seen it, but I do think that could happen, and then we would probably work with the parent that does want to bring in their child to best communicate with the other parent about how to do what's best for the child. And
that's what you've got to keep in front of you is that patient client. We've got about 30 seconds. Is there anything else you want to say about Samaritan Counseling Center, other than that you just love working there?
I think I do love working there, and I just want to encourage anyone out there that needs someone to walk alongside them in this journey and in their life, that we're here to offer skills and adjustment and everything we can to help people move forward and heal. And so it's a courageous choice for people. That's
a good way to end this program today. Next week we're going to have another program about the Samaritan Counseling Center from another aspect. We'll see you next week with another program. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for joining us for News West 9's West Texas View with Johnny Lou Avery. This has been a public affairs presentation of KWAB TV and KWES TV.